Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to what's going to be a really exciting announcement. I think you look at these cars. What do you think, Mike? Cars of the future? Maybe? Cars of the theater. There we go. Anyway, welcome to the Daytona International Speedway and the 59th Annual Daytona 500. We're here in the center of action with Lightning McQueen and the Piston Cup champion we all know and love, and Cruz Ramirez, a new face you'll meet in Cars 3. I've been fortunate to be the voice of Darrell Cartrip, my animated alter ego in the Cars films, and I'll be voicing over again this summer in the new installation of Cars, the Cars franchise. I want to welcome to the stage Vice President of Entertainment, Marketing, Content Development for NASCAR, Zane Stoddard.
Thanks, Darrell. Wow, what a great group. How cool is this? We could just show these cars and drop the mic. So thanks for joining us this morning. We're extremely excited about what will be an unprecedented and season-long collaboration between Disney, Pixar, NASCAR, and our NASCAR industry around the release of Cars 3. About a year ago, we met with John Lasseter, the Chief Creative Officer of Pixar, and his team in San Francisco. John immediately threw his support behind the collaboration. We spent the rest of 2016 pulling together this program that we think our fans are going to love and really be excited about all the different ways that they'll be able to experience and engage with Cars 3 and throughout our entire 2017 NASCAR season. The program will have about a dozen different components across our tracks, digital, social, and in-market. This is a result of truly a cross-industry collaboration from our tracks to our teams, to our drivers, to NASCAR, the league. It'll officially kick off this weekend with the voice of Lightning McQueen, Owen Wilson, serving as the Grand Marshal for our 2017 Daytona 500. We will then have a co-branded Cars 3 NASCAR Acceleration Nation educational program that will deliver STEM-based curriculum to over 100,000 schools nationwide this year. Fans will have access to co-branded Cars 3 NASCAR merchandise at the Trackside Fanatics store throughout the entire NASCAR schedule. Following the release of the film, there will be a Cars 3 exhibit at the NASCAR Hall of Fame throughout the summer. At this time, I'd like to introduce the creative vision for the Cars 3 movie, the film's director, Brian Fee.
The first Cars film was born from a realization that John Lasseter had while on vacation with his family. His epiphany was, life is not about the destination, it's about the journey to get there. And I came to Pixar to work on that film, and my own journey from story artist on Cars 1 to now directing Cars 3 has been pretty incredible. And I can't wait to share with everybody and continue to see what we're going to get out of this great partnership in the coming months. Partnering with NASCAR for this film, in particular for all the Cars films, is it seems the most fitting, I think, of all the movies we've done yet, especially for this film. It's not only the return of Lightning McQueen's story, but it's also our Disney Pixar's love letter to the sport of racing. And where would racing be without NASCAR? In our film, we see Lightning McQueen, who is now a legendary veteran racer, being faced by a new generation of high-tech racers who are threatening to take his spot as a Piston Cup champion. And the film follows Lightning on his journey to figure out how to stay ahead of the rookies on the track who have all this access to high-tech technology and racing training equipment. And we had a ton of fun designing them. At Pixar, we kind of think, we generally think Lightning looks pretty cool. We're pretty happy with how he turned out, but we had an extra challenge now, was to make Lightning look old. What do you put next to Lightning that makes him look older and slower? And so we had extremely fun time designing all the next generation racers. And when it came time to cast the voices of these next gen characters, we thought, well, who would be better than some of NASCAR's own next generation drivers?
We're sort of in that transition stage, I think, in our sport too, where we have a lot of Lightning McQueens, but we also have a lot of next generations that are making their presence felt. One of those young men is Ryan Blaney. In this movie, he'll be known as Ryan Inside Laney. Here comes Inside right here. Coming up on the inside. Morning, my man. We have Chase Elliott. He'll be the voice of Chase Race-A-Lot. So we'll be calling him Race-A-Lot, I think. Morning, my man. Morning. Good to see you. And, Bubba Wallace, who, Blaney and Bubba Wallace, they could probably do a movie by themselves. But Bubba will be known as Bubba Wheelhouse in this race. Morning, my friend.
How are you?
Good to see you. And Daniel Suarez, and he will be known as Daniel Suarez. And so welcome Daniel to the stage. Actually, he'll be known as Danny Suarez.
Let's hear it for our next-gen drivers.
Lending their voices to some new and returning characters, I'd like to introduce my teammate, Jeff Gorvette. May have changed his name to Jeff Cadillac, I'm not sure. But and of course, if I just said the Kings here, well, we all know who that is, right? Mr. the King, Richard Petty. And you got to have two Pettys to have a successful movie. So we have Kyle. He'll be Kyle Weathers. I like this name. We have Ray Everham. He'll be known as Ray Reverham. Hard for me to say. And Shannon Spake will be known as Shannon Spokes. And another cellmate of mine, and I love this name, Mike Joyride, Mike Joy. And you have to have a historian in the crowd, and that'll be Humpy Wheeler, known as Tex Dynaco. Easy, Tex, easy.
So in Lightning McQueen's efforts to stay ahead of the next-gen racers, he enlists the help of a high-tech trainer named Cruz Ramirez. Now with new characters, we always love working and trying to introduce new voice talent. And today we are thrilled to have the voice of Cruz Ramirez here with us today, Cristela Alonso.
Hello, everybody. I have had so much fun joining the Cars world and giving Cruz Ramirez a life. Cruz is a very motivated and sunny character, and she's so pumped up to work with the Piston Cup champion, Lightning McQueen. And we're obviously so excited that we want you to meet Cruz, and we couldn't wait till the summer. So, ta-da, there I am. Don't I look good in yellow, you guys? I mean, I'm killing it. Come on. So, Lightning and Cruz are going to be here all weekend long, and then after they leave Daytona, they're actually going on tour together across the country.
If you would provide an overview of how important it was for NASCAR to be a part of the Cars film, and maybe how some of these young drivers were selected.
Yeah, sure, Kurt. So, one of the most important objectives at NASCAR is to reach the next generation of fans of our sport, and what better opportunity to do that than to align with one of the greatest animated kids franchises in history. So we feel very grateful to be able to do that. As far as these four guys, it worked perfectly. I think Daryl mentioned that the roles for these guys were as next gen drivers, and so these four are the next generation of our sport. So they were the right ones for it. It wasn't a difficult decision. Worked with Patrick Rogers and our driver marketing services to get these guys involved.
Yeah, no, I remember going. I went with my mom and dad. I think we were living out in Colorado at the time, and we were, I don't know if we were somewhere racing that weekend or not, but I remember going to the theater and watching, and I was a big fan of it. So I think it's really cool to be a part of it now, and I appreciate the opportunity from all the folks at Pixar and NASCAR for letting me do it, and hopefully it turned out like everybody wants.
For me, I just can't tell you how excited I was when I got the opportunity to work with Pixar for the Cars 3 movie. I'm a huge fan of McQueen. In my bedroom in Mexico, in my mom's home, I have a ton of little cars of McQueen. I have a pillow of McQueen. I have a remote control. So I'm a huge fan. You guys have no idea, how happy I am to be side by side with this car right now. So this is amazing. I'm just super happy to be here, and I think it's going to be hell of a ride.
Ryan and I were just saying Chase was probably 5 when we were 8 or 9. But yeah, I actually remember going to the theater and watching it. It's still the best racing franchise movie to me. I'm excited about the opportunity, like Daniel said, to be in it. I remember my favorite line from the movie was when I think Lightning McQueen mentioned the Piston Cup, and then Tow Mater was like, "You did what in the cup?" That was the best line ever. So I still say that to this day.
I think all the kids, especially if you were involved in racing, really enjoyed the movie. I mean, it's a movie about cars that can talk and they race, and that's pretty amazing to me to grasp that concept. Whoever came up with it initially is a genius. But it was neat to go watch when I was young, and I've always been a fan of them. And it's really neat to be part of something that you really kind of enjoyed as a kid, and now as being grown-ups, all of us are really fortunate to be in this spot, to be part of the new Cars movie. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and hopefully it turns out good. Hopefully you guys enjoy it.
I basically had to beg John Lasseter to put me in Cars 2 because my kids loved the first movie so much that they were asking me why I wasn't in it. So, John Lasseter, if any of you know him, he's such a huge race fan. He comes out to Sonoma and comes out there and enjoys that race and with his friends so much. But you talk about the genius. I've been able to go to Pixar and especially with Cars 3 and see sort of it from the beginning of how they were creating characters and talk to a lot of the, Brian and his group and everybody there. And what an amazing concept and process it is. It takes 3-4 years to make these movies. So I was very proud to be in Cars 2 with Jeff Gorvette, and certainly proud to be back in Cars 3 again.
This movie cost me thousands of dollars since Humpy Wheeler invented Legends cars, and my son and daughter here, and when they saw Cars 1, first in merchandise, first with all the merch, that was the first several $1,000s, and then it's like, I want a race car, I want a race car, I want to go racing, I want to be Lightning McQueen, so thanks.
It's one of those movies, Cars 1 particularly, that kids just watch over and over and over again. And that's what makes these 3 movies so great. I think Cars 3 is going to be one of those movies that's maybe going to replace Cars 1, because this is kind of back to our roots. This is kind of back to what we know as NASCAR and where the cars are coming, where they're racing, and the characters in this movie. I think this is going to be the biggest one yet, personally.
How about you, King?
Well, there's more people know me from Cars 1 than they did all my years of racing, okay? I mean, you got kids that come up, their parents are saying, this is Richard Petty. It don't register. He's Mr. the King in the movie. Oh, yeah, well, remember all that kind of stuff.
When they called and asked me to do it this year, it's personal to me, just as my dad said. All of our kids grew up on it. But my dad and mom were in the first one. So my mom was a part of that first one. So to close the loop in 3 and me be a part of a franchise and a part of it with my dad and mom has been special for me.
So I have twin boys. They're 7 years old. I have probably spent the amount of a house on Pixar films between, Apple TV and seeing them in the movies and merchandise. And this movie particularly, and when I told my kids that I was going to be in Cars 3, first they didn't get it. They're like, well, what kind of voice are you going to use, Mommy? Like, they didn't understand that it was going to be my voice. And then the trailer came out, and let me tell you something. I am the coolest mom in the first grade at my kid's school. Every single kid came up to me, and they were just so excited. So to be part of this and to be standing up here with all these guys and to see Lightning McQueen down there, and Brian's been so great to work with, it has been something. It's a blast. And it's been something I will absolutely cherish for the rest of my career. So I cannot wait to watch the movie.
I'll tell you how strong this is. I built the a replica of the Hudson Hornet, the Doc Hudson in Cars 1, and I had it in a great race. And it looks just like the one in the movie. And we're in Poughkeepsie, New York, and when all those cars come in, it's like a traveling Barrett Jackson almost. I'm sitting there in the parking lot, and people are coming around looking at the cars, and this guy comes up with this little boy in a wheelchair who's 10 years old, and he's got cerebral palsy. and they had heard that the Hudson was going to be there, and they drove all the way down from Hudson Bay to see that car. And when he saw it, and I said, well, you want to get in it? Of course he did, you know. And he got in it, and he just started crying. And I almost gave it to him.
You know, for me, this is a huge honor, right? You know, because when these pictures come out and they're out, I'm going to be the guy on stage. People are going to be going, who the hell's that guy, right? You know, when you look at the names that are in this movie, and you know, I've been fortunate enough that Brian and my friend Jay Ward asked me to look at some vocabulary, some communication between driver and crew chief, and I've been fortunate enough to work with them on the detail for the past couple years, and it's just amazing. I can tell you, I'm so impressed with the amount of effort that goes into protecting the heritage of our sport and how hard they work to get every little detail right. So not only are they entertaining kids, but they're representing NASCAR and all of these stars. Great, and it's been, it's really neat, and as many of you know, I'm a new father, so I've got, I don't know if she's ready yet, but in a year or so, I know that she's really going to appreciate this thing, and certainly my son Ray J is excited about it.